Midnight tonight is the deadline to register to vote in a number of elections on May the 1st. Meanwhile, in Cheshire, there's a by-election in Runcorn and Helsby after former MP Mike Amesbury stood down. There are also local elections in parts of the region.
Yeah, and that by-election in Cheshire means that in just 3 weeks' time, the North West will have a brand new MP. Yeah,
the stakes in this contest are really high for all of the main parties who will be watching the result very, very closely.
And our political correspondent, Líse McNally, has been hearing from voters and candidates.
Runcorn and Helsby is a constituency of contrasts. A stretch of urban industry along the banks of the Mersey gives way to a patchwork of rural villages reaching south to Chester. Once it was one of Labour's safest seats, but now the political view is far less clear. And there's a by-election looming, meaning the power is now in voters' hands and it could make some serious waves in Westminster.
I suspect there's going to be a lot of voting to make a point. It could be interesting because, as I say, it's not just Runcorn now. With the area having been expanded, it puts things in a much more interesting footage.
This coffee morning in Palacefields is run by a local charity who says it's a community that fights for each other and they want an MP that fights for them too.
Runcorn is slightly neglected. If you look at Widnestown, it has so many more facilities than we have here.
You say that Warrington or Liverpool is sufficient travel to get to work. Not when you haven't got a car, it isn't. To get to Liverpool, it's 2.5 hours on the bus.
They've got to understand poverty, they've got to understand the needs, the homeless, they've got to be able to build together, they've got to show compassion, and they've got to be a really good, strong candidate, because there are a lot of candidates in this area at the moment.
So who will the new MP be? Labour have held this area for more than 40 years and are defending a healthy majority. But the former MP's actions cast their shadow. Mike Amesbury resigned after being convicted for punching a constituent. So hoping to clear up her party's reputation, Labour candidate Karen Shaw.
Look, we know that we're going to be challenged in this seat. We do not take any vote for granted, and we are out there talking to people every single day, making sure that we're listening to their concerns.
Unpopular cuts to the welfare bill. How difficult a fight has the government made this for you?
They're not cuts. What it is about is welfare reform. And, you know, as a former teacher, I'll give you an example. I don't want to look a young person in the eye knowing that their life has been consigned to a life on benefits. 1 in 8 young people in this country are claiming universal credit. That's not okay. We need to do better than that. Labour is working hard to do better than that by putting £1 billion into skills, supporting people into jobs and employment. So I think though there are some really tricky decisions we've had to make, there are some very good news stories that sit behind that, and we need more time to be able to get to the place that we promised we would be.
But other parties are hoping to snatch the seat. Reform UK came second here at the general election and want to become a serious political force in Westminster.
This is a must-win seat for your party, isn't it?
It's a must-win seat for Keir Starmer. If Keir Starmer loses this, I think the realisation that Labour have really got it wrong and that people, albeit only in a short 9-month period, are so disillusioned already with this Labour government will be a real reality check for him. But more importantly, if Reform do win this election, it will start a tsunami of people across this country who realise that it's okay to stand up and say, I am proud to be British, I want my country back, I believe in the Reform values. They want to see the money that's wasted on woke nonsense stop.
What do you mean by woke nonsense?
Well, you know, I mean, as a magistrate of 20 years, I used to see endless trials, court cases delayed because we'd need translators of all sorts of obscure languages in court and things like that. That all costs so much money. And I'm afraid I believe that very much so that if you're living in this country, you need to learn to speak English.
Watching Reform's performance closely will be the Conservative Party. After a battering at the general election, they're now under a new leader and keen to regrow their base in the North West, where their candidate says rural communities are being ignored.
Here in Cheshire West and Chester, the housing target is being moved up from 500 to nearly 2,000. So that means that we're going to get more houses, more pressure on local infrastructure. So I'd be a strong voice for communities like here. I'd use my expertise working in construction to lobby government to make changes to the planning Planning and Infrastructure Bill, where local people keep their voice, they have a stronger say in local development, and it makes sure that we're protecting our green spaces while delivering the important infrastructure that's needed.
Some might say that just means that every community says, no, you can't build here. Don't we need affordable homes?
I think it's important to provide incentives to local people. So if local people want building to happen in their area, then that's absolutely fine.
Reform UK is saying this is a two-horse race between them and Labour. Is it?
It's not at all. The Conservatives have got a strong standing here. I'm talking to lots of people who are telling me they want a Conservative candidate.
A total of 15 different candidates are fighting for this seat. The Liberal Democrats campaigning on the cost of living, social care and crime, while the Green Party say they have a plan for taxing the super rich to pay for public services. But whoever wins this election, they'll have some work to do. Appealing to every voter in such a big and varied constituency is a serious challenge, and times are tough. Back at the Palacefields Community Centre, the coffee morning turns into an affordable food pantry. Volunteers say this is the work they need politicians to see.
We're open to anyone, whether you're on benefits or not, because even people working are struggling.
What is that like to see that?
It is quite disheartening because I've never known it to be this bad, really.
I think it's a frightening situation, really frightening. What can we do?
So what's your message to the next MP for Runcorn and Helsby?
Start looking at what needs doing and act on it, not make empty promises, which is what they seem to be doing.
This is a high-stakes contest by any stretch, for the people here and the parties here, watching to see who their biggest opponent becomes. Could voters take the wind out of Reform UK's sails and help steady Conservative nerves, or will they overturn a majority that mere months ago would have seemed unsinkable? Only one thing is certain. These results in Runcorn and Helsby won't choose just one MP. They'll help the parties steer their course right through to the next general election. Líse McNally, ITV News.
And on your screen now is an alphabetical list of the 15 candidates standing in the Runcorn and Helsby by-election, along with the party they represent. The polls close at 10 p.m. on the 1st of May. You can also find the full list on our website. That's at the usual address, itv.com/Granada, itv.com/Granada.
Right, time now for a look at what's to come on the ITV Evening News. Here's Charlene.